I'm Ariana Tejero. Welcome to TVGuestpert's broadcast podcast. It's the show where we talk to Hollywood's executives, creatives, innovatives, authors, coaches, and pageantry. And we hope that from this podcast, you're able to glean something that you can apply to your own marketing, branding, and promotion. And so excited to have on this episode Nyakoach Lam and Natalie Iman Duvalsaint, both of whom are involved in two very important pageants. And I'd like to start with Nyakoach to give a little bit of your backstory.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, Ari. So again, my name is Nyakoach. I am originally from South Sudan. That is where my family is from. I have been raised here in San Diego, California. And I am just enjoying my time right now getting my master's degree. I am pursuing a master's in social work. I currently have a job in a community health clinic where I am case managing in a substance abuse and mental health wellness clinic. And so I spend a lot of time doing that. I also advocate for the youth in my community. The Southern Sudanese community needs a lot of leaders. And so I see myself as someone who can do that. And so I spend a lot of time doing that as well. And so I enjoy being here in San Diego. I got my bachelor's degree in Sacramento. And I also got that in social work as well. And so I just see myself growing up. I've always wanted to help people, always wanted to see where I can assist in the need, and there was always a need. And so I always found myself being the one to say, oh, I can do this, or let me help you with this. And then I came to grow up to find out in college that degree can be social work, which is so broad. And I found myself wanting to do many different avenues of social work, but I just love that there's no limit to the route that I can take with social work. And so I find myself doing that. And surprisingly, 2020 had so many surprises, one being getting involved in this pageant. And so I'm just so proud to be here and honored to be a part of this community.
And also, we were talking about this before, but first generation college grad and master's too.
Yes, first generation American citizen, because my parents became a citizen after, years of being in San Diego. But however, we're being that first generation here in San Diego. This is very new to us. We arrived here in the early 90s, so we haven't been in this country too long. And so it's just amazing to be first at a lot of things, being part of that first generation platform.
That's a good feeling, just to be an American citizen too. Congratulations. That's really big deal. And Natalie, to you, I'd love to hear about your journey here.
Yeah, and again, thank you for having me on. Our super excited. Similar to my sister queen here, I'm a first generation American as well. My parents came from Haiti in the 80s, so similar to Nyakoach, first for a lot of things, which is really exciting. I went to San Francisco State University. I'm from the Bay Area, born and raised. And I currently work at a company called Pinterest. I'm a recruiter there. And I really love my job. I get to focus on bringing in the right talent, but not just that, I get to focus on that diversity aspect. Right now in tech especially, there's definitely that need for more diverse talent. And I love that I have a part of that, especially at a big company. I've been competing in pageants, I want to say for 13, 14 years. So I'm not new to this, but I am new to this system. So I'm really excited to kind of just see what the supranational and the grand pageant system is all about, and what we do, what we can do. I know Nyakoach and I have worked a little bit already on some up and coming things, which is super exciting. So I'm just excited to have this reign with my sister queen, two first generation Black women, two title holders, national title holders for California. It's a really big deal. So I'm very honored and very proud to be Supranational California.
Can you explain a little bit about supranational and what that means, how it differentiates from other pageants?
Yeah, so there's grand and supranational. There's so many pageant systems. It's so hard to kind of keep up. So supranational is more focused like in Europe, Southern America. And what makes it different is we are more platform based than like the typical like Miss Universe or Miss USA. And Supranational works with Stop the War campaign, and the title holder who would win Supranational would spend their year talking about the end of violence, Stop the War campaign, and doing other charitable work across not just the United States, but all over the world. So it's super exciting.
And then with the grand competition, Nyakoach, we were talking about this earlier, just the symbolism behind it. the torch, everything it stands for, and how it's for the betterment of humanity. And
Yes.
so how did you become involved in pageant life?
So I don't have any experience in it. However, Miss Moju's production, she is also South Sudanese. And so there was a mutual friend that we happened to be in the same place. I can't recall where we were, but she asked me if I was interested in the pageantry life. And I immediately said no, because I just feel like growing up, especially being, first generation, being a dark-skinned African woman, I didn't receive positive feedback from people here in the United States. It was a lot of harsh ridicule about my dark skin and how I looked, and just the unique features that I have. And so it took me a very long time to accept the beauty that I have. So when she initially asked me, I said, I'm not a pageant. I don't look like the typical beauty women that I grew up seeing on television and in magazines and things like that. And so I had to, it took a lot of convincing for Miss Mojus, and she reached out to me several times. And it was after about 3 or 4 times that she asked me, I paused and did an inner check. I kind of checked myself to see, like, why would I not want to do this? What is stopping me? It was at this moment where I started accepting myself. So this came at a very good time, because it was this year that I really accepted myself for who I was. I really believed in myself, and I loved myself regardless of what anyone else thought. And so when I thought of those traits that I have and qualities that I have, I said, yeah, why not? I feel beautiful. I get a lot of compliments from people, and they see what I feel. And I think that's what when I really wanted to pursue it, is that what I felt inside was being reflected to other people, and they saw it too. And then that's when I got so many compliments. And I can't go anywhere without someone kind of like gagging a little bit over, like, wow, my goodness, and oh my gosh, you look like this and you look like this. And so that's how it kind of started. And I started working with Miss Mojus on getting more information as to what is pageant life, the purpose of it. And when I understood for Miss Grand as well, understood that this is, the ability to represent yourself, represent your community, represent who you're involved with and where you're at, with such poise, with grace, with dignity. And when I started to understand those traits and characteristics, I realized that's already the path that I was walking on. And that's when I decided to join this pageant life.
What a beautiful story, and just your own transformation, your own journey, coming to terms with confidence, and then finally deciding, okay, now is the time to do it. Right?
Yes. It was like a once in a lifetime situation. And I said, what a better time than already kind of accepting yourself for who you are. And I think that's the important part of pageant life, not to do it so someone can deem you as beautiful or as queen, but you already walking in that journey, in that path of feeling as a queen, feeling as someone who's beautiful and can be contagious. You can share this with other people. And I think that's very important as well.
And Natalie, this is something you've been doing for many years, so a bit different type of journey. How have you noticed just the industry evolving over the years since you started?
Yeah, the industry has definitely changed a lot. When I was starting out, it was in the Trump era of Miss Universe. So it was very, Model S, stick skinny, girl next door type of look. And it was always a battle for me when I would compete, because I just didn't have those traits. I didn't have that look that they were looking for. But it didn't stop me. I just, I kept trying. I went through kind of like Nyakoach, some self-evolution. And a lot of people have asked me about this pageant, like what was so different with you with this pageant than previous pageants? And for the first time, I could say at this pageant, I was completely in love with myself, from my inner being to my outer core. So it felt good to represent myself, be my true self, not have to put on, a pageant face or be somebody that I wasn't. And I think it translated well to the judges, and it just felt good, especially from doing so many pageants where you have to, you have to be on. It felt good to be just my true authentic self I have self-love. I was radiating my self-love. And I think similar to Nyakoach, it was contagious. I definitely think also, being a dark-skinned first-generation Black woman in pageantry, looking at the history and looking at its evolution, you don't see people that look like you often. So it's a deterrent. It's not something like, oh, I'm going to go do this because I have a chance. And you really have to want it, and you really have to love yourself first, because it's a beauty pageant. You are being judged, on your beauty, how you carry yourself. So at the end of the day, it is a beauty pageant, and it's really important to love yourself first, because these judges are a couple of people, but you're with yourself every day. So I've definitely noticed a change in just judges and production and girls that are entering. And I'm seeing natural hair on stage and braids on stage and things that I haven't seen before. So it's been really nice to see how everything has progressed in the time that I've been doing pageantry.
I guess in that sense too, we're seeing a lot of diversity, which is great. You're also seeing a lot more competition, and the parameters have changed. There's more pageants out there. There's more competitors. So Natalie, question to you. How do you keep up with, like we're talking about, self-marketing and staying relevant? And because at the end of the day, it is a competition, right?
Right. I got some really good advice long ago when I was a young little bean. And I was competing, and I was just looking and said, wow, like, look at these girls. They have all these followers on Instagram and all these sponsors and all these things. And I didn't have that. And one of the girls told me at the end of the day, the judges are who you need to impress, not these girls. Don't look at what other people are doing. See how you can market yourself in your true, authentic way that will make you stand out. Don't look at what other people are doing. And that little piece of advice has really helped me. The way that I market myself, I am very authentic. I'm very outgoing. I'm an extrovert, and I've just always been that way. And I think that kind of differentiates me a little bit. I kind of push the boundaries a little bit more in terms of, what's the status quo in pageantry, because I want to present my authentic self. I always want to be who I am all the time. And so what we post on our Instagram pages and what we post on our Facebook is really indicative of who I am as a person. I think that helps me stand out with my marketing. I'm a little bit extra, and I bring that to my marketing.
Jackie Jordan, TVGuestpert, has a book, and part of the book talks about influencers and, again, marketing and interviews and why it's so important to put yourself out there. And right now we're in a global pandemic, so definitely competition, stage, that's all changed. So Nyakoach, what are you doing? And just being so new to this, how are you navigating the new?
Yes. I realized that new has been a part of my journey. Like we mentioned, being new to the United States, being new in my family to going to college, and new in getting my master's degree. There's just been a lot of new things that I've been a part of throughout my entire life. And so I'm used to new things, and I actually enjoy it. So I take time to figure out how to adapt to the new things and how to express myself in new ways. And one thing that I did this year was be a little bit more vulnerable, be a little bit more transparent. And I think that opened up a lot of doors for people to understand that social media and having a platform can seem not, I don't want to say fake, but you don't want to present like everything's always good and everything's not. And so I took a lot of time to talk about topics. And because I'm in mental health field, I talk about ways to express myself. And I share things where I'm just outside taking in a breath of fresh air. And these are simple things that I realized people have really gravitated towards. And I'm also similar to Natalie. I have a lot of energy. I love to dance. I love to sing. I don't have a singer voice, but it's something that I just enjoy doing. It's part of my self-care. It's part of what kind of helps me, kind of get through things. And so I tend to do that as well. Show how I have fun just within myself. We've been alone a lot and during quarantine and COVID. And so I show people you can enjoy your own presence and enjoy your own time alone. And so I show myself doing all kinds of things by myself, going for walks and just enjoying the sun, fresh air, listening to music, my favorite songs. These are things that I've done along with just beauty and showing people it's not just looking good, but it's about feeling good as well and doing the things that make you feel good.
Yeah, I guess too, solitude versus isolation, how solitude can be very invigorating and renewing. Have
Yes.
you noticed a lot of people just recently, the past year, reaching out to you on social media because your platform has to do with mental health and because you work in that field?
Yes, I noticed a lot of people, and social media can be tricky because you can feel as if maybe I shouldn't post that, or should I post this? It's always really a back and forth with me sometimes on how should I present my platform, and is this, representing what it is? And I always have to remember to go with my gut feeling, and feeling as if that one thing that I post can really trickle down and make a ripple effect in someone's life. And so I noticed a lot of responses, and wow, I needed that. And thanks for sharing. And that's when it really I realized in myself that it was deeper than just, oh, post pretty picture, really talk about certain things that, people might not want, people might not be, open to talk about. I mentioned talking about rejection once. I was like, I don't want to talk about rejection, but I mentioned it, and someone really, was really intrigued by what I said, and it really helped them out in their journey. And so it's just those small little nuggets sometimes that I would encourage other people, because it's what I'm experiencing. And we notice life, there's nothing new under the sun, and you may not be alone in what you're experiencing. And so I'll share where I'm at in that moment in hopes that someone else may resonate with this.
And Natalie, what is your platform?
My platform, so I have been working with notforsale.org with my mom. I haven't done it more recently, but it is for children who are victims of sex trafficking. And it's really important to me. It's really dear to my heart. I used to be a preschool teacher and a nanny for 15 years. So I just love kids. And so the thought of kids going through that and being forced into that lifestyle just didn't sit well with me, naturally so. So I've been working on that with my mom. We've been doing like fundraisers. We also had a chance to like go to Haiti, and they have a big issue with sex trafficking, child sex trafficking there. So we were able to go there with my church. We were able to build a church. My mom and I started a feeding program over there for a lot of the kids, because for many kids in third world countries, you get one meal a day if you're even lucky. So that one meal that we provide for them is usually all they eat all day. And we find that when they come and they eat and they play with other kids, like they don't have time to be, in the streets, to be susceptible to being kidnapped and forced into sex slavery. So it's something that's really, really important to me and really dear to my heart.
And both of you too, you can just tell that you're so passionate about your platforms. I think a lot of people, just ostensibly they see pageantry, they think, oh yeah, it's a beauty contest and it's surface level, but there's so much more to it, which the both of you exemplify really well. When you're on camera, when you're competing, how do you channel that genuine passion that you have and make it come across as, yeah, this is me? You could start with Natalie with that one.
If I'm being honest, every pageant I'm so nervous, because I compete to win. I want to win the pageant. So I'm always just so nervous. And I remember, you have to impress the judges, not the girls, and just be yourself. Like what's the worst that's going to happen? You're not going to win for not being yourself. Like, oh, well, so I always just keep that in mind. And when you talk to pageant girls, they say they want to be a role model, and they want young girls to look up to them and to be like them. And, I love that. And that is great. But I wouldn't want a little girl to look up to me and not want to be like me. I want them to look up to me and say, oh, she's 100% herself and her authentic self. So I want to be 100% my authentic self, whatever that may be in whatever capacity that is. So that's just really important to me, because people are looking at us. So young kids are looking at us. I want them to know you don't have to be cookie cutter. You can be who you want and how you want, and you can win pageants. And if you don't, you stay true to yourself. And I think that's like the ultimate goal, is staying true to yourself no matter where you are.
Oh, thank you for that. Nyakoach, how about you?
This being my first pageant, there was a lot of different feelings going on. And what it took for me was, I think I had a moment where I slipped away while we were rehearsing, and I just talked to myself and saw where I was in my journey, and realized that I'm confident in myself, I'm confident in who I am, I'm secure in who I am. And so I sort of just kind of channeled that. What I do and everything that I participate in, it's a part of who I am. the love that I poured into myself, the confidence that I pour into myself, everything that I did that I poured into myself internally has been able to be radiated. It's a radiating force, and so it can be felt outwardly. And so I think I just really remembered that I make an impact with people without even saying a word. And so I just wanted to make sure that I reminded myself of that and walked passionately in it. And so I just, like Natalie said, you just have to be yourself. And I'm glad that 2020, I was able to take time to be in solitude and to take that time to get to know myself a little bit more. So that really boosted my confidence. I've been hanging out with myself for a long time, and so I enjoy myself. And if I enjoy myself, I know that others will as well. So it really wasn't about I have to win, but I won for myself because of where I feel and how I treated myself throughout this year. And so I saw myself as a queen before I was crowned.
Yes.
Wow.
That's powerful.
Wow, yeah. It reminds me too of a quote that says, "You'll never be lonely if you learn to befriend yourself."
Yeah,
true.
I'm my best friend. I love myself.
I'm gonna write down the queen crowned. I like that.
Yeah.
There's also the technical side of all this. Both of you are so articulate and so confident and so happy, and you come across that way on camera, and also you're very relaxed and comfortable. And I think you can tell, yeah, you have that natural aptitude for that, and also you're very polished and you've done this before. So some of the people that are watching this podcast, perhaps they're interested in starting their own podcast or marketing for their book or their business. So what goes into the technical training for what you do with pageants? You can start with Natalie, that one.
Yeah, so the technical training, like I've been lucky since I've been competing for so long. I have had rehearsals, I've had interview practice, makeup practice, how to speak, and what not to say, kind of like a PR boot camp, so to speak. So it's been something that's kind of been ingrained in me since I started, and I feel really fortunate for that because it's helped me in other avenues of life, especially with work. So I would definitely just tell people, you have to start somewhere. You're never going to start poised and polished. I was a hot mess at 15 years old, and I really needed that training, and it's really helped develop me. But I think what people really need to do is just start. You start, and then you evolve, and you kind of take a look at the path that you're trying to go on, and you adapt from there. I don't think there's one specific, like you need to do this or you need to do that to get things off the ground. I really think it's just a matter of starting and not being scared and not having fear. Everything else will come naturally.
Are there any specifics that you've picked on just for on camera or picked up on for on camera work? Like any tips on that specifically?
Yeah, so one thing I learned is when you're looking at the camera, you're supposed to look on top of the camera, not directly inside of the camera. And it didn't make sense to me until I played it back and I looked at myself looking in the camera, just looked crazy. So definitely looking on top of the camera, not using so many filler words. It's something that I'm still working on. So like those not pausing as much. So things that I'm still working on. I'm not perfect, but these are things that you learn, especially like when giving interviews and doing media, kind of how to articulate yourself a little bit better. So those are little things that I know.
There's something powerful too of taking an interview and watching it back. I know a lot of people don't like to do that per se, but just when you take out articulated pauses, like you said, and when you speak more slowly and the eye contact, simple things like that can just add so much polish to an interview and really be a game changer. And when you talk about competing too, I mean, in essence, if you're on a segment, if you're on a TV show for an interview, it's a competition because you want to do your best and market your product or what have you. So that's really good advice.
Oh,
Nyakoach,
to you for this one, can start with the first question.
Yes, I would say practicing there's a lot of etiquette to it, and so posture is really important. How you stand and sit, and getting used to, if you're not used to wearing heels. But I would I kind of forgot the question really quickly, but I would just, if someone is watching this, whatever it is they would like to do, I would just encourage, start with believing in yourself. I think that's really the main key. Is once you believe in yourself, you can really start to achieve those things. If you don't believe it for yourself, it's not it's not likely going to happen. And so things started working a lot for me, regardless of what avenue I was in, what I was doing, once I started to believe that this is for me, and I felt that within my spirit and my soul. And so it takes a lot of work. And even though I'm new to this, the past few months, I spent a lot of time, walking in heels. I mean, I was used to walking in heels, but not to this extent, and standing. And, so there's just so much etiquette and where to place your hands. And so I had to teach myself a lot of these things, because I'm used to slouching a little bit. And I'm used to just kind of crossing my arms. And so there was very subtle things about, yourself that you may not pay attention to, but it means a lot in the pageant life. And so take the time to practice how to pose and how to stand when we're just all standing together as the girls in competition. And so those were a lot of things that I had to put into practice.
No, can I add something to that?
Oh yeah.
Like the believing in yourself component that you were mentioning. Like, I know it sounds really like, like believe in yourself, but it's really so important, because if you don't believe in yourself, how is anybody else supposed to believe in you? Like you want to radiate what you want to receive. So I think that is so huge. Like get out there, do it, believe in yourself, take it for yourself. That is something that I think is so underrated, and it sounds like it's a cliche, but it really starts with believing yourself and knowing that you can do it. So I'm glad you said that.
And I think even if you do have insecurities, if you're just starting out, or a lot of people nowadays get on social media and you can just create your own brand on your own, but there's something to be said just about communicating that, yeah, you are super confident and you do believe in yourself, and that's how it is, even if you don't behind the scenes. The camera can pick up on the smallest things, and just your attitude makes such a difference. Yes. I really like what you both said about etiquette, super important. Posture, I think walking in heels, I mean, this applies more so to women, but you never know, whatever works. Or even for men walking around in work shoes around the house, you get used to how you are. And like, there's something also really grand about posture and the way you walk that can apply to many things and not just pageantry. Eye level, when you're on camera, articulated pauses, and then the more esoteric things like self-worth is super, super good advice for many different fields, whether it be like a group presentation or pageantry or social media or on-camera interviews. Super helpful things there. As far as pageantry and relevancy, where do you see the industry going in the next 5 years? We can start with maybe Natalie on this one, because you've been involved so long.
Yeah, the next 5 years, that's a tough one, just because I feel like, especially in this climate, things change so quickly. And I've seen, like I've mentioned earlier, I've seen such a shift with how I started in pageantry and how it is now. I would hope that in 5 years we have more of that diverse lens, but that it's not so like granular, and it's not so like, oh, we need to have this type of diversity. I want it to just be something that's just the norm. You won not because of the color of your skin or your background. You won because you were simply the best one for the job. I think that is, we're getting there. We're just kind of starting to see a new diverse perspective. So it's a little weird right now, but we're all growing. And I would hope that in 5 years, it's just something that's more streamlined, something that's just a little bit more acceptable. Not this big like fanfare. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like on the nose, because I think right now, yeah, the movement for diversity is a good thing, but there's also the side that feels like, why do we need to put it out there so much? It should just be intrinsic, and it should be, merit-based, but it's going to take time to get there for sure.
Right. So I'm hoping to see that transition for sure. And I'm hoping to just see more people compete. To be honest, pageantry has really helped me, especially like I mentioned in work and just everyday life. Like before I did pageants, I was so introverted. I was so nervous to talk to people. I didn't realize how my posture portrayed me, or like, it didn't give me any confidence. I was always like slouched. So just these little things that pageantry helps you to achieve, like you can take it in any walk of life. And I'm hoping that as pageantry moves on and as we continue to have pageants and have women compete, people can see that there's more to pageantry than just being on stage and having like really great hair and makeup. It helps you in all aspects of life. And I don't think I would be where I am in terms of my career. I don't think I would be able to speak with my candidates like I do. I talk to about 100 people a week, and I don't think I'd be comfortable doing that if I didn't have the training that I got through pageantry. So we'll see where it goes in 5 years, but hopefully somewhere good.
And Nyakoach, to you.
Yes, I would hope to see the purpose of pageantry be exposed a lot more. I think people, my perspective, I almost declined because I assumed I don't fit the model. I don't fit that pageantry lifestyle or look that women had. And having short hair, I was a bit taken aback to be like, oh, well, maybe do I need to buy a wig? Do I need to? But then I had to remember that I am myself. I am who I am best when I'm representing my authentic self. And so I would really, and with this pageant, I saw that I didn't win based on how I looked, but more so on the traits and the qualities that I had. And so I hope that that gets promoted a lot more for women to understand that it's okay, come as you are, and represent those beautiful qualities, those beautiful traits, those beautiful characteristics that women have, because I feel like there's so much more to us as women than just how we look. As women, we're so well rounded, there's so much different avenues within ourselves, and we're just so complex. And I think that I would love to see that represented a lot more in the pageant life. And it's not just, oh, she looks good and wear heels and she has a nice shape, and but like you mentioned, how we're representing war, we're representing mental health, and we're representing sex trafficking, we're representing so much. And so I think that is where I hope to see the pageant lifestyle go, and to represent more of those qualities and traits that we have in avenues, and to also promote those things. Let's continue to promote mental health. Let's continue to educate people on children child sex trafficking and these type of things. And so I would like for the platforms to be showcased a lot more as well.
You're both such a testament to the industry and just the good that comes of it. I've never met more happy, self-assured people that love what they're doing. It's really refreshing.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Natalie, I was reading somewhere that you have a clothing line in the works. Is that right?
I do. It's like in the very, 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 very premature stage. So I have a clothing line, and it's going to be called Millennial Melanin, which is my Instagram name. It's, I just honestly love being Black, and I'm a millennial, and, I just want to make clothes for people to just have and be comfortable in, that anyone can wear. But I want to be able to give like 20% of my sales per month to like a Black business. It could be local, it could be somewhere big, it could be to my notforsale.org platform. So I want to be able to use this clothing line to give back to the Black community. I think it's really important. And I'm really into, building like Black generational wealth. And I think that starts with me. That starts at home. I want to be able to give back to the community that's given me so much. And I just feel like starting this clothing line is just kind of a way to show my small token of appreciation for my community and for the people that have uplifted me, for the programs that got me through school, that took care of me after school, that fed me lunches when I didn't have lunches. So just things like that, I want to be able to give back. So,
is it a certain type of wear, or like all types of styles, or?
Yeah, so it's going to be unisex. It's just going to be loungewear, because I love loungewear. And contrary to popular belief, I'm not the best like dresser in terms of like putting things together. So I like outfits that are just already set. Like you got your crew neck and you got your pants and you're good to go. So it's going to be loungewear, sweatpants, sweatshirts, crew necks, really good material. It's just going to be cute. I'm very excited about it.
Is your mom helping with this too?
No, I'm doing this all by myself. She's really excited about it, but she's not really versed in the fashion industry. I'm not versed in the fashion industry. I'm sure Nyakoach can relate, being first generation American. Your parents, they're amazing, but they are not versed in some American traits or some American lifestyle hacks. So that's all me and Google. We're doing it together.
Wow, so sweet.
Yeah. I'm excited.
I want to end just with social media and where viewers can find you. I know, Natalie, you mentioned your Instagram handle. Do you want to just repeat it one more time so people know?
Yes, so my Instagram handle is Millennial Melanin. I know it's long, but yeah, Millennial Melanin. And you can follow me during my reign at Miss Supranational CA. I'm on Instagram as well.
And Nyakoach, where do
Yes.
we find you?
Yeah, so my Instagram handle is Nilotic Nyakoach. Nilotic period Nyakoach. And Nilotic is just a term for those who are related to the Nile River. And so my country the Nile River runs through my country. And so we refer to ourselves as not the Nile people, the Nilotic people. And so that's where that part comes from. And my name is Nyakoach. So Nilotic period Nyakoach is my Instagram handle where I can be found.
Is it spelled like the Nile, like Nilodic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
TIC. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that. I didn't know that. I love that.
Thank you.
I learned so much. And also the quote I wrote down about feeling like a queen before being crowned, really beautiful and profound.
Yes, yes.
That touched me. I was like, wow.
Yeah, like I'm saving this one and putting it on a Post-it.
And you should feel that way. And I think that's what helped me. So even being new to the pageant life, like I said, I slipped away for a little bit, and I have a video, and I'm so glad. When the time where we record things, I just had a moment where I was kind of feeling a little down. My encouragement kind of just went down a little bit, and I recorded myself and said, you know what a journey. I'm actually a queen. And so I'm going to be crowned today. And so I was just kind of encouraging myself in that, uplifting myself. And now I look back and I actually, I believed it. I believed it for myself. I'm going to be crowned. And lo and behold, I was crowned.
Well deserved. You radiated such good energy during the pageant. I could tell that you were very secure with yourself, very comfortable with yourself. It was contagious, like you mentioned. So I love that. I fed off of it. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And that's the point. I like, as we were all there as girls together, I didn't want to feel as if, oh, I'm going to beat you and have it be that like, snobby competition, but more so of, you're doing a great job. You're beautiful. I hope you win. And just hoping that whoever wins is not I won't feel less than seeing someone else win. I'll feel just as proud because I'm happy to see another woman be encouraged and reign and have that position. I feel like if I did well, then that's the best I can do. I'm not going to allow being judged or not winning make me feel like I'm not already a queen or I'm not already, withholding those beliefs. It doesn't negate who I am and what I've done and what I do.
It's like being confident, but being still and like being happy where you are, which it's not easy to do, right?
It's not easy. It's hard, but I learned it's you get further in life when you root for people, when you genuinely cheer on, when you're genuinely happy people. I think there's no reason to be upset. Sure, I might have been discouraged, maybe just a little bit had I lost, but it wouldn't have shattered my whole world or caused me to.
And if you're competitive too, it's like, even if you lose, then you still have the drive to keep going, and that's what pushes you. Right?
Yes.
Well, thank you both so much for just sharing your stories, very personal stories, and then also all the tips that you gave us for on-camera work, all super relevant, and just thank you so much for what you shared today. And if you want to see more of the podcast, you can look for it wherever you watch or listen to your podcast. It's Front and Center by TVGuestpert, and find TVGuestpert on social media at TVGuestpert, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, the whole thing.